Welcome back to another episode of Welcome to the Industry under the New York Underground Radio umbrella. Today's guest, I've traveled back to Canada. Canada just has so much talent. This talent has versatility I haven't quite seen before. Singing, dancing, pop, all kinds of stuff going on in the video. Culturally, getting everyone excited because it's not too much of a time that you get to express yourself your own way and everybody surrounding you. My man is making noise, doing features. The features I've seen have been spectacular. The videos are getting a lot of plays and a lot of attention. His buzz is picking up. Let me introduce you to my man, Kalvonix. What up, dog?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. You've been busy, bro.
Oh yeah, always working, man. Always, always.
Yeah, you've been real busy with everything. And
Yeah.
with that being said, Canada in general, especially the Vancouver area. Like I'm a big Swallow Members fan. They're from over there.
Oh
That
yeah.
that area has been heavily busy since like the mid '90s, just going
Yeah.
crazy. And it's crazy. Like all you guys that are doing like your own trend of music, your own genres and mixtures.
Right.
Like it's really popping up all over the place, man. It's
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
exciting. How do you feel about that? Being a part of that wave that's really starting to pop out in the west coast of Canada.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. I've always loved seeing all the different types of artists, especially artists that are so different from what I do, but are still kind of within the umbrella of hip hop. I think that's what's beautiful. Like hip hop can encompass such different talent, which I find really, really amazing. So it's just really cool to see everybody doing their thing, and for me to be able to kind of play a part in that is really cool.
Awesome. Now, for the people globally watching, right, they're going to catch this on one of the reels or shows. Explain your namesake, Calvonix. How did you put that together?
Yeah. Okay, so I wish it was a deep story, but no, it's not. It's basically
He said,
um
I wish it was deep.
in in I can't remember exactly when it was. It was probably around 2004 if I had to guess. I was 11 years old at the time, and back when everybody communicated through MSN. So MSN, everybody's just kind of chatting
Right.
away, right? And back in the day, if you leave the desk for a second, if you leave the keyboard, you're supposed to say like "be right back," BRB, right? But I didn't do that one day, and I was talking to my cousin, and I left for like an extended period of time. So he asked me a question, and he couldn't get a hold of me because I left the desk, and so he randomly just in like rage, just wanting to get a hold of me. He just kept spamming me with messages and he kept calling me different variations of my name. So he'd say, Calvin, Calvon, Calvatron, Kalvonix, right? And he yelled Kalvonix in all caps. And when I came back to my desk, I saw the name there and I was like, Kalvonix, what the hell is that? And he's like, oh, I was just thinking of, WWE, John Cena, he said basic thugonomics, and I thought of Kalvonix. So honestly, it sounds like a techno name nowadays when I think about it, but it's the origin is from John Cena's like tagline back in the day when he used to say "Word life, this is basic thugonomics,"
You
and yeah,
want to know something?
yeah.
That's deep.
Oh, is that deep? Okay, cool, 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 cool.
That's
All
deep.
right.
No, yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's funny how certain things like that happen, right? Like Childish Gambino's playing the Wu-Tang double album, and he's playing with the name changer. And
right.
from the get-go, if you go put it in, that's the
Yeah.
first thing that's on there, Childish Gambino.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, wow.
yeah, when you mess with the name maker,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty.
yeah.
Now you're pretty versatile, like singing and rapping. I'm not gonna get into asking what you like most because I'm sure it depends on the mood. But speaking
Hmm.
of which, what comes first to you? Is it the beat making you want to sing or rap? Or are you deciding today, like, hey, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna rap, and then you go try to find the beat?
Um, it can really depend, but if I were to kind of streamline it and just kind of think about like creative process in general,
Right.
I'm a big movie guy. So I'm always watching movies and
Likewise.
I'm always trying to kind of find a feeling that I relate to or connect with through a movie. And if I feel that, then that's where a song idea would usually come from. So, um, I treat making music like making a movie. I see Kalvonix as Kalvonix is still very much me, but it's kind of an over exaggerated cinematic version of Calvin. So it's like
Right.
everything
Got
that
you.
I wish I was, but also it's like a more confident version of who I am in real life. So it's kind of a way where I can act things out in a cinematic safe space.
Yeah, it's a never ending story, right? You could be whoever you want in that world.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And for artists out there, some like, and this is for multiple genres that
Hmm.
feel that way, like they have to connect emotionally. I've done a little homework on it, and mostly that's the storytellers, the ones trying to tell a story right off bat, are the ones
Yeah.
that connect to that, and
Hmm.
I think it's a good thing. But even like watching some of your videos and stuff, like even when it's a story about hanging out or partying or getting to know a woman or like you're still trying to tell that story. So
Right.
I
Always. Yeah.
appreciate that, like no matter what, because
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people like, oh, I'm gonna spit battle bars and then I'll tell a couple of stories in the album. That's where you go
Right.
wrong, right? Be creative.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, like you have an idea of where you're going with most of your projects, right? So
Yeah.
how hard is it to design a beat through another producer, right? Because you have what you're hearing in your head,
Hmm.
and like it's gonna depend on you because your versatility, like singing,
Right.
rapping, like what is it that you have to do to make sure that process from you to them comes out accurately?
Yeah. I think it just takes a lot of patience. Like I definitely like I'm always on BeatStars, for example, like just listening to different beats and um I'm always trying to find a beat that I feel like if I press play, if the beat's giving me the feeling that I'm trying to communicate. Because I think beats can definitely communicate in that way. It can give you a feeling right away without any lyrics there. And then it's my job as the writer, I very much pride myself on my writing. I want to do the beat justice and kind of bring my own unique take to whatever that beat is given out. So for me, it's really about just kind of one finding a beat that I like, and then when I do, what I usually do is I reach out directly to the producer and I just kind of get a quick vibe of like, do they have a very specific sound or is everything kind of sounding different? I kind of get a feel for them. And then if I'm feeling what I hear, multiple beats, then we end up working quite a lot because I'm a voice note guy, so I'm always like sending voice notes to people, long detailed
Right.
voice
Okay.
notes,
Okay.
and they
Old
kind of get
school.
to know
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You.
Yeah.
You. I mean, because when you're talking to nobody, like on some Wilson stuff, you're gonna say some wild things. I know I have on
Right.
voice messages. Now,
Yeah.
so you're in the West Coast of Canada,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I've been up there. It could feel like an extended California for myself, which just means like California is a melting pot for a lot of different cultures. How is it, or how was it growing up in Canada being like a Filipino descent? How did that go?
Um, so I think for me, especially when I was young, like I think, I've been blessed to kind of grow up in an area where there was just always so much culture around me, whether it was Filipino or, people from India or like China. Like I always had different friends from different parts of the world that was really cool. So and it was always good to know that like different cultures were welcomed where I lived. Um, I do hear stories though, like my mom and dad, they moved to Canada when they were 14 and
Oh, wow.
this was back in the 80s, like the early 80s.
Right.
And my dad would tell me stories of like Calvin, like when I was growing up, you'd be hard pressed to find another Filipino like just walking down the street. Like you couldn't find them like and he's like it was I felt really out of place. So to hear that back in the
Right.
80s to now and see how like if you go to certain areas of where I live like you feel like you're in the Philippines. There's just Filipinos in some areas.
Right.
So I think it's really cool. I've always felt really welcome because by the time I was born, I just feel like it was already multicultural, you know?
Cool. So you didn't have to go through none of the craziness,
Yeah, for sure.
or the odd feeling, right? You just were in school headbanging like everybody else.
Yeah, for sure.
So doing a little research, right?
Mhm.
Because we're getting ready to close out this year, and it looked like you had a really good year. But just like any artist, I remember my day. I couldn't wait to reload for the following year, right?
Right.
So 2026 is coming fast, and you're gonna try some new things. So you're scheduled to have a pop synth album early
Yeah.
2026. Explain
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so just a little bit of backstory, since 2020, really, I've been putting out in at least one album a year since 2020. So I've put out multiple rap albums, primarily rap albums, for every year. And in 2020, actually, I put out two albums, and then ever since then, it's been just steady one album a year. And at the beginning of 2025, I dropped what I consider my best rap album to date called Ego. I just feel front to back, it's like one of my best projects. I'm super proud of it. I'm a little biased, but I consider it album of the year.
Yeah, you
I
should feel
love it.
good. You should feel
Yeah,
good.
man, it makes me feel really good. So because Ego was so well received, it was definitely my most popular album thus far, and people seem to be loving it. I was like, I want to switch up. I want to do something different. I want to challenge myself. Obviously, I'm always learning and getting better as a rapper, but the one thing that I always get complimented on is my ability to write catchy hooks. A lot of people always say that I'm really good at writing hooks and making a song kind of get stuck in their head. And so I was like, what if I made a whole album where I'm just essentially writing hooks? I'm working on the melody. And that really interested me. Um, on top of the fact that I've always had a lot, I didn't grow up in the era, I wasn't alive, but I've always had a fascination with the 1980s and like that, like
The
pop
greatest
culture
era
in the
ever.
1980s. Yeah.
I'm from the 80s, bro. I love it. I missed that
Yeah,
era.
no, it's
It's
always been
crazy.
such a big part of like my interests. So like my favorite movie of all time is like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Just that like high
There you
school
go.
experience with Spicoli and like just living in the 80s carefree. And I wanted to capture that feeling in the music and I was like, okay, well, if Kalvonix existed in the 1980s, what would that sound like? And so that's my goal for this project. I really want to show that not only can I rap, but I can do a lot more as well.
And maybe globally that's the thing to do to snatch everyone's attention,
Right.
right? To conquer what I call do the Madonna, right? Reinvent yourself
Yeah,
every 10 years.
yeah,
And I mean the lady's a genius about it. She's reinvented herself
right.
every decade to be loved by everybody.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
with that being said, you're gonna touch on a demographics that's gonna hit hard, right? Because you're gonna
Yeah,
touch on the 80s, and there's so many adults to young adults to people who just were barely born in it who want to remember that time. So I think when you drop that, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people who want to tune into that sound. As you know, The Weeknd, he touches on a lot of classics from the 80s, and it
right.
works.
Yeah,
He doesn't
yeah,
have too much original sound that he has that comes out. He just
right.
finds that classic touch and re-kills it. And which
Yeah.
isn't a bad thing, it's not a
Mhm.
bad thing at all. But yeah, I think it's very important that if you can be that versatile and do all those different things and challenge yourself, you should.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I think honestly, I've actually already put out two singles off the upcoming album. So I have a song called Shadows, and I have another song called When I'm With You that came out in August, and they both performed very well so far. Like one of my most streamed songs under a year, it already has like 100K views, and I'm just like, holy crap,
Congratulations.
what is happening? And I think that just
Yeah.
really shows that like people are excited for the new direction. So yeah,
And everybody's screaming Kalvonix. I knew it was gonna
yeah,
be something
hopefully,
cool like that, like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Pound Solo Burger or Gaylord Falk or something like that.
right.
So how do we feel about independence versus being signed?
Um, I think it honestly depends on the artist and what the artist wants. Like, what is the end goal for the artist? I think, I think there's proof today that more so than ever that you can quote unquote make it without being signed, and you can kind of build a cool
Absolutely.
fan base and really do it. For me personally, um because I really value the ability to do things on my own time and work on my own deadlines, I really value just being independent and just kind of doing it my own
Absolutely.
way. I do feel like for me, like obviously in a way because I'm trying to always push my music out there. Of course, like there is a business kind of side to doing the music, but I feel like if I was signed it would start to feel more like work to me. And I never want that to outbalance my love for the passion of it and really doing it for fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I've done both.
Hmm.
I've been indie, I've been commercialized,
Yep.
and traveling the world, I'm like, it's funner independent. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly. And even owning a small label now and I have artists, right? I what I've learned to do, because in the beginning I was just like clockwork on them. Like get this done,
Oh,
get that done. But what I've learned to do, because people want the indie feeling but the label protection.
right.
So you learn to give people that, and so they don't stress and just get the work done properly,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I allow my artists as much freedom as they want, but
That's
also that
cool.
they understand you're making the decisions. If it doesn't work or you flop, then you know where it came from. So,
Right. That's
it's a
cool.
double-edged sword, but at the same time, I'd rather them feel that freedom of
Right.
creativity rather
Totally.
than feeling stressed. Like, bro, I need you to like pull your pants up to your ears, tighten the belt, and pull out two Glocks, and like, you
Right.
don't want to do that, and you just kind of have to let artists, because of how music is now,
Yeah.
no real box anymore, right? It's just
Right.
it's hip hop with,
Right.
this
Right.
or
Right. Right.
that, and
Yeah.
so on and so on. So here's a question, and I say it to everybody the same way because it never comes back the same way
Okay.
for you, and it could be because you do multiple genres. I'm just gonna say top five MCs that are alive. So that could be
Ooh.
anybody.
Oh, MC's
Well,
top five. Okay.
for yourself,
For
not
myself.
based
Okay. For
on
myself. For
right.
myself. Okay. All right. I'll go backwards. So, five, I'll have to just because of just I have to. Like Tupac is there for sure.
Okay.
Tupac was one of the first MCs that I listened to because my cousin blasted him in the car, and I was like, "Who is this? What is this? What am I hearing?"
Right, right.
You have
Everybody the
to.
same
You have
way.
to. Yeah. And then for the fourth place, I would have to put J. Cole. J. Cole
Great
is
storyteller.
oh my God, yeah, one of the best storytellers. And what I love the most about J. Cole is just his humble persona. I just love how humble he is. He's always bigging up other people, but he's also, when it comes to the mic, he's like one of the best. So love J. Cole. Um, Third, because of the melody, like I feel like a lot of my melody and knack for melody is based on Kid Cudi. I think Kid Cudi,
Okay.
yeah, really just kind of
Who's great at
showed me.
mashups? He's great
Yeah,
at
yeah, yeah.
mashing up stuff.
For sure, for sure. And he's really showed me like opened my ears up to listening to things outside of my comfort zone. So like Kid Cudi told listeners to listen to Pink Floyd, and ever since then I've been a Pink Floyd fan. So I love that. And then the top two would have to be Eminem, because without Eminem, I probably wouldn't be rapping. Like I think what was really cool was, you know, I grew up with a disability, so I have cerebral palsy, and I was bullied quite a bit in school, especially early on. And it was Eminem who really showed me like I heard he was rapping about growing up in a trailer park and not having enough money to feed his kid, and he's now putting it to words and people love him for it. And that kind of showed me like, okay, well, if I rap about my life and my story growing up with a disability, maybe I can make it happen for me. And that was the main thing that really pushed me to start making music. So Eminem has to be there for sure. And then first, I mean, it's I don't know if he's on a lot of like first lists, but for me, it has to be 50 Cent. Because 50 Cent, he was the guy that like literally made me want to start rapping, like really go into the booth and start going. And I also feel like my knack for hooks is because I only listened to 50 Cent growing up in high school. So,
Crazy. That's a crazy list. I
yeah,
like it though. So some of the lists are wild that I get, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I would have never thought, you know.
right,
Like mine is gonna end up having Tom York for Radiohead and Kurt Cobain from Nirvana as influences,
right,
right? So people are like,
yeah,
what? Like,
yeah,
yeah, man. Like I bang that. You know
yeah,
what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
That's really cool. So that I mean, thanks for taking us down that rabbit hole called
Yeah.
Kalvonix. What's all your socials? Where can everybody reach you at?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's just my name. So like X Kalvonix, Instagram Kalvonix, YouTube Kalvonix Music. I do a lot of music videos, so feel free to check me out on there. And then I'm on all streaming platforms.
And is it Kalvonix with a C or a K?
With a K just to confuse people. So Calvin with a C, Kalvonix with a K.
That's it right there. Well,
Yeah.
man, I just want to thank you for your time and taking a break with us. We know you got something coming up early 2026 when we're going to check back in with you and see how everything is going.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best in the world. It sounds like you got a plan and everything's going to open up for you. We'll see what, third and fourth quarter bring you this next year. As we're closing out fourth quarter, it looked like you had amazing 2025. Anything you want to leave with the people?
Oh man, I just want to say, everybody, if you have a dream, you just got to go for it. You know, that's all I've been doing. I've been at this since 2005. So, like, literally about to be over 20 years. And I still feel like I'm just chasing it and getting closer and closer each year. So, it's about the journey, though, not about the destination. So, if you got a dream, chase it, but really appreciate the little things along the way.
I love it, man. Thanks for your time. We're going to see you out. That's another episode of Welcome to the Industry. I'm Big DeeMo. That's my man Kalvonix, and we're going to see you later.
Peace.